Hey guys, we're back with another incredible episode of Career Talks. You ready? Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Career Talks. I believe we're at episode 21, so we're creeping up there. But again, super excited. Always a pleasure to speak with some extraordinary people in this career development space. And again, I know how to pick good guests because these guests share some amazing content on this LinkedIn platform. So those of you who are joining, please feel free to share where you're coming from or listening from in terms of state. Have questions prepared because it's a great topic. This young lady I met through LinkedIn as well, watched their content and said, I got to have her on because she has a unique approach to the content she shares around career development. So she is the founder of Jolt Your Career. She's also a resume writer, a career strategist, a certified career management coach, and a speaker. I don't know if there's any more credentials. I get all these folks with these amazing list of credentials and expertise, but without further ado, let me bring forth Miss Teegan Bartos. How are you?
Hello. Good evening. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining me. And it was on such, again, I'm seeing this consistency where I ask professionals and they're quick to respond and like, let's get it going, let's do it. So I love that. I love that quick turnaround from all you talented folks. But before we get started on this great topic that you posed and we're going to talk about, which I think is crucial, share with the folks more about who Teegan is.
Yeah. So I am Teegan Bartos, founder of Jolt Your Career. So I do job search coaching, job search strategy coaching with ambitious professionals. My sweet spot in my business is working with mid to senior level leaders who want to level up in their career. But my heart spot works with disadvantaged youth as well as underserved individuals throughout the Chicagoland area. And so I'm kind of two-sided with where my attention gets pulled to, which is probably the unique approach that you were talking about with my content, because I serve a wide audience. But ambition is ambition, right? So it makes it really easy. At the end of the day, the job search sucks for everyone, regardless of what level you're at within an organization or what
Yeah,
industry you're in. And so my goal is to make the process be more fun, get through it quicker, and at the end of the day to make more money and really land that perfect fit. And I don't mean
right.
perfect job, but fit is in terms of external and internal motivators that are going to make people want to continue to show up to work and be proud about what they're doing, to have that fulfillment. We work for too many hours to the day to be miserable.
I love that internal and external fit. Love that, and the heart piece. How long have you been working with the youth and underprivileged?
So, I was diagnosed with 3 learning disabilities when I was young. So I'm dyslexic, have a speech impediment, and a memory deficit. And so all the way from the time I was in school and special education classes, I have worked with peers who, for me, I internalized my neurodiversity and just didn't talk, where other of my peers would lash out with aggression. And so, being in the south suburbs of Chicago, the stereotypes are true. You end up locked up, you end up in the system. And so, it has been something that has carried on with me from peer to peer, from when I was little all the way through to where I'm at now. I did a psychology internship in college with Job Corps, which is a disadvantaged youth vocational program, and still volunteer to this day with a lot of different youth programs, an autism group, a my husband did the Black Male Leadership Academy at Roosevelt, and so a lot of those mentees I help get roles once they complete their undergrad at Roosevelt, and a couple of different homeless shelters that I work with as well.
Wow. So you have three superpowers that you're able to turn around and push out to the community and the way you serve folks. So that's amazing. They're not disabilities; they're absolutely superpowers. You would have never known in watching your content and speaking now that any of those exist. So you've done a phenomenal job. Let me commend you first on that and utilizing those talents that you have and superpowers for good because and not letting it weigh you down. So absolutely, they're not disabilities whatsoever. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's didn't feel like that at first, but it
Right.
absolutely feels like that now. You just learn to work with it. It's my normal. I don't know any other way.
So I mean that's profound right in itself, and we want to get to the topic, but just the fact that you rattled off those three things and are still successful and still pursuing, and not just in your own personal career as a business owner, but you're able to give back
Yeah.
despite these what again most folks may consider a disability or a barrier or a roadblock. But there's really no excuse if you don't have any major issues of health or anything. There should be no excuse why job seekers today are not putting forth the additional effort to get training development from coaches like yourself and execute. So yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. I'm glad we connected and I got you on here to share that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Carl and Carmen in the house too. What's up, everybody?
Hey, Carl. Yeah, I got your message, Carl, earlier today. I absolutely will respond and get on your calendar, sir. So I appreciate that. And then Carmen, yes, here, Tampa. I am in Tampa as well. So hello, and thank
I'm
you.
gonna have to come visit the both of you because this weather is freezing here in Chicago, like below freezing at this point. So I'm jealous.
Yeah, come on. I know with Gabe giving us, putting together that group. We're all in that group, so it'll be good. We can all go break bread together. That'd be cool. All three of us. Yeah,
Yeah, shout
that'd
out
be
to
awesome.
Gabe.
Pretty cool. So um, we're talking about obviously smart ways to job search during the holidays, which most folks you think they're turning off their efforts.
Yeah.
I can tell you companies are not. Obviously, it's turned up in most cases. If there was never a pandemic, we'll probably be slowing down, closing out financial books. But they're like, no, 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 higher, higher, higher.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that. What are some smart ways um, to job search during the holidays, and why that topic now? Why'd you pick that topic now?
Well, I am I'm 2 appointments away from being completely booked out for the month of December for my
Okay.
services. And each and every single person has said, "Yeah, I'm just ready to see what the market has for me." Now, these are all employed. These aren't unemployed people. And so I think it's imperative for individuals who are currently unemployed to realize what's at stake if they slow down their game.
Mm,
Because people who are employed are using up their vacation time before they lose it at the end of the year and
mhm,
are going to be vigorously applying because they have the time to do so. And most likely will interview a little bit better because they don't have as much on the line from currently being employed versus being unemployed. And the holiday job search season, what easier time of year to reach out to people, to leverage your network, right? Because it's an easy icebreaker. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. you know um what holidays do you celebrate in December? And it's just an easy icebreaker that can kind of open doors that may have previously closed, or um, people that are employed
mhm.
are using their vacation time. So it is a way for job seekers, whether they're employed or unemployed, to have better success with networking, because more than likely things are slowing down in most people's departments unless you're in recruiting. um, and more people are taking their vacation time, so they're more likely to respond to you, to get those informational interviews, to get that referral that you know would otherwise wouldn't have, that's going to skyrocket you to the top of the pile. So all those things made me pick this topic.
That's good. That's good. And what you mentioned was pretty interesting because you said your clients, some of them, if not most of them, are unemployed, and now they're starting to look. Have they shared with you why they're choosing now to start looking versus waiting until the new year to actually
It's
start their
because they're
search?
using the vacation time. They're
Okay.
they'll use it. If they don't use it, they'll lose it. So it's like, okay, well, let me work on my resume and LinkedIn profile now, so that way when
Mhm.
I have this time, I don't have to be thinking about writing my resume myself. I can just enjoy the holiday. Everything's ready to go. So that way when a recruiter does knock on my LinkedIn door, I can be like, yeah, here's my resume. It looks amazing, doesn't it? Like, let's jump on a call. Um, and people are finding that confidence with these New Year's resolutions. Like, okay, I don't like this company anymore. I didn't like how they handled the civil unrest. I don't like how they're handling the pandemic. I want to
Mhm.
stay remote, and they're going back into the office in January or February. So now is the time to make this move. And it just it's just a good time that it aligns with people, where a lot of people will think, I have a lot of clients in historically who said, oh, I'm just exhausted from my job search. I haven't landed anything yet. I just want a break. I want to enjoy my holidays. But then they can't enjoy their holidays because they're so stressed about their job search. And so by doing a couple of strategic things throughout the holiday, you can work on your job search and enjoy the holidays at the same time.
That's cool. So when it comes to kind of expectations, and we'll get into the types of strategies you're sharing with your clients. Are you setting expectations around, hey, it may look like this, you may not see, your interview process may go longer into the interview, into the year than normal, or it may be quicker, so be prepared. What are those conversations that you're having look like?
No company is the same. And
Right.
so company research goes a long way. I had a client last week, director of quality, interview, had the phone screening in the morning, had the interview with leadership in the afternoon. The next day got the job offer.
Wow.
And he's a director level for kind of like a niche, like not super niche, but there's only so many of those roles out there. And so it
Hmm.
was like, whoa, that went fast. But then I have other people whose company sets up the expectations, like Salesforce, for example. That's an easy one. They
Hmm.
say it's a 4 to 6 weeks interview process. You're going to have the phone screening. You're going to interview with the hiring manager. You're going to have to do a presentation in front of a group of peers, and then we'll make a decision. And so the expectations are set that this is
Hmm.
the process, this is how long it's going to take, these are the people you are going to be meeting, here are the different time slots, and so every company is different. And there's a lot of data out there on LinkedIn, um, on various other sites, where they say, "Ah, this company, put me through 12 rounds of interviews and then
Hmm.
ghosted me," or this company, I was hired like that, or this is what you can expect with the interview process with this company. And so one of my tips for the holiday job search is to create a target company list. And so when you decide, okay, what do I value within an organization? What do I need to have compensation wise? What kind of industry do I want to be in? What kind of reputation is important? All of those things, you can create a company list, narrow it down as you go, right? It's not set in stone. You can always
Hmm.
add or take away. Um, but once you have that company list, you can be a little bit more strategic about how you approach networking, applications, doing cold outreach on LinkedIn and things of that nature to to it sounds counterproductive, but when you actually put it into place, it goes a lot quicker. Because if you have that target company list, you're reaching out to people who work there. Especially, you can find on LinkedIn people who recently transitioned into the role. Hey, what was the interview process like? And then boom, okay, these 3 people just recently started this company. This is what their interview process is like. That's probably what it's going to be like for me too.
Got it. That's good. So let's break apart each point you just made: creating a target list, the networking, and then really cold outreach to LinkedIn. So I'll start backwards on this. So the cold outreach on LinkedIn, are you sharing that should be directly to recruiters or hiring managers, or do you find an advocate in there, a peer, or what points are you giving on that?
So I like to start off within people's comfort zones, right? Because we want to build up momentum, have those
Mhm.
small wins to like build our confidence to reach out for some of the scarier fish in the sea. So I like to go, if you go on settings and privacy, you can download your data,
Mhm.
and you click the box to download your connections. And in a sheet, it'll download all your connections, names, phone numbers, email addresses, employers, etc. And so you can sort through that sheet and do um, you can search for
And
specific
spreadsheet.
companies.
Yep. You
Yeah.
vet it through. Got it. Yep.
Yep. So if I know I'm interested in working at Amazon, I can go through Amazon and see I have 47 connections at Amazon.
Mhm.
And then let's say um, I would reach out to them first, people I know, whether they're in the department or not. Let's say I see, oh, I didn't realize I'm on LinkedIn with my neighbor. Let me highlight this person. So I like to start off by downloading that just to have the data there to organize things. And then to start with people who know, like, and trust me. So first I start with family and friends and say, hey, can you introduce me to someone at X, Y, or Z company? You can do a little bit of snooping on their LinkedIn if their connections are made public. Oh, Orlando, I see you're connected with Teegan. Can you make an introduction? And then you can say like, you don't know me very well. I don't really know her very well, but I love her content. And then I can reach out to Teegan and say, hey, Teegan, I see we're both mutually connected with Orlando. He said he loved your content. Just wanted to reach out because I saw you recently pivoted into this company. What was the interview process? Do you know what the interview process is like? I recently applied and am considering going through the interview process. And then you're more likely, even though Teegan may not remember Orlando, somebody, who is she even talking about? Yeah, let me respond, because people don't want to be rude or thinking like, how did I forget this person, or where do I
Mhm.
know this person from? So a little manipulative, but it works, and it's friendly and honest. So I don't have a problem with it, and most people feel comfortable with it. So go through warm leads first, and then warm leads.
Mhm.
So Orlando makes an introduction to Teegan, then reach out to Teegan, or Orlando introduces whoever to, and makes the connection. And then reach out to cold connections. So going through the people that you feel comfortable with first, and then doing the cold outreach. Hey, I saw we both went to Northwestern University, and you're currently at Pepsi. Like, what a small world. Pepsi's my favorite soda. um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and connecting with something that you have in common or something complimentary. Wow, Orlando, I'm so impressed by your content. Kudos to you for doing the LinkedIn Lives. I've been learning so much about the HR industry. I'm actually interested in pursuing transitioning to a TA role. Would you be open to sharing, do you think that it would be better to get my SHRM or, my PHR? And having an if or that type of question can
Yep.
kind of open doors. And who knows, maybe you're nice enough to be like, let's jump on a call, let's chat, maybe I have a referral bonus at my company, and it works. It's amazing how the smallest of threads will tie people together.
I think the most powerful point in that was to download your connections. I think folks would not know how to search. Well, let me not make a blanket statement, but the fear of like, oh my God, I got 500 I can't go through each 500 on LinkedIn. I'm not going to sit in front of my computer that long. Downloading that into a spreadsheet, and then you're just reviewing it real quick, like, oh, okay, great. That
Yeah.
is so huge. That is so. I've heard no one speak about that before. So
We gotta work
that is a
smarter,
huge,
not harder. It is a lifesaver to use sheets
huge tip.
to organize everything.
Yeah, huge tip. I think people should. I'm definitely going to make note of that. That is a huge win. I think it condenses the time frame, the fear. It makes you more laser focused. So that
Yeah.
is a powerful tip, Tegan. Powerful tip. With the creating, and I'm gonna jump around with creating the target list, and then I'll get to a question from Crystal. Um, how are you suggesting they create that list? Is it based on in company size, just the role, in state, out of state?
I like to have clients go through their internal and external motivators first. So, like, my tagline is the perfect fit. So, like, F for function, I for interest, so like going through and figuring out what where do I align? And if you want to check it out on my featured section, there's actually a downloadable where you can see like how to go through what I value internally and externally. What do I need compensation wise? Is compensation not the bigger factor? Is it more work-life balance?
Hmm.
Do I need to have it remote? Do I need to have it within a certain radius? Um, it, do I want an organization that is focused on sustainability goals? Do I want an organization that's focused on going to Mars? Figuring out what is it that is going to get me excited to go to work. And you don't have to like love your job. I mean, there's always going to be parts about jobs that suck, but if you're at least living into your values while at work,
Hmm.
it's going to be a lot easier to want to stay there and grow there and things of that nature. So, in terms of company target list, it depends what is important to each individual person. Easiest things to start it off with. Is there a radius that you need to be in, or is it remote? Remote is a little bit more intimidating. So, if there's a radius, start there. What type of company size are you interested in? What type of industries are you interested in? And trying to narrow it down. You don't have to like super niche it, but if you just start focusing on, I kind of think manufacturing might be a good place for me to explore. Then
Hmm.
make a list of manufacturing companies and then tech companies and then healthcare companies, whatever. So you can kind of organize it in a way that you can do a little bit more research. Okay, manufacturing doesn't pay as much as technology. I want to not think about manufacturing companies right now, think about tech companies. Get through all the work with the tech companies and then go back to the manufacturing companies as like a plan B after you get through plan A. Um, does that make sense?
It does. It does. Because they're really fine tuning it, whether it comes down to five top, organizations and the way you scaled it down. It's similar to what I say about, we should, as job seekers, take the approach like businesses do when they're marketing the newest widget, right? They have their marketing strategy. They know their avatar. They
Oh
know
yeah.
the demographic, the earning income of the people, the area, the likes, the dislikes. We need to take some business practices and apply it to our job search, so we'll become super focused because we'll plan, right? Just as people, we'll plan vacations, weddings, trips, all these things, but we don't have a plan for our career, which is the main thing that funds our life. So it's really leaving a gap in how we think. So I think that strategic thinking and how you lay that out. So
So many
I'll,
people have strategic leader on their resume, but don't have a strategic job search.
exactly. So which is funny. So many questions to follow up, but I want to get to Crystal Chisholm's question for you. How do you encourage someone who has been let go during the holidays?
Yeah, that really sucks. And it happens every year with trying to make cuts, fourth quarter cuts, getting ready for, M&As and things of that nature. And so I probably have a different approach compared to like IFC credentialed coaches who um, I do have an empowering approach, but I also tell it like it is.
Mhm.
So my way of encouraging someone is feel the pain, cry about it, cope, like be sad, and then be pissed off enough to say like, okay, let's go. What comes next?
Right.
And that approach doesn't work for everybody. So some clients I have to be a little bit more sensitive with, but I feel like I just naturally attract somebody who has
Kind of thicker
a certain
skin.
level of spunk to them,
Mhm.
if that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. And so anger, if directed appropriately, is a huge motivator. And I like to encourage people to keep a brag sheet for on their really sad days. Like, here's the reason why I'm amazing at what I do. And my layoff was not due to a lack of performance or anything like that.
Mhm.
It's just simply because it was a business decision. And that hurts because people's identities are tied to their organizations. However, we're so much more than our job. And so thinking about all the different things and having that balance in your job search can be somewhat encouraging. Okay, so from this time of day to this time of day, this is what I'm going to focus on. And the rest of the time is family time. And I'm going to make sure I go out and do walks. I'm going to make sure I have self-care. I am going to make sure that I get dressed and don't get depression happens, especially during the holidays. The winter blues are real. And when you're experiencing a layoff and so sad, doing things like taking the shower, getting dressed, going for that walk or whatever it is to keep you from slipping into like a super dark state can really help you say, okay, I've got some structure, I've got some boundaries. Now let's work at this. I've got a plan. And that's one of the things that I really like from the time that I worked from the Department of Labor. I've got a 4-week plan that pretty much works for anybody. It's like week 1, do this, week 2, do this, week 3, do that, week 4, do this. And it's just a roadmap to get you to have a checklist. Like, okay, I crossed this off. I reached out to this. I made this. I'm going to do this. And on those, and then, towards week 3, when you start getting those interviews, it feels really good. And it's like, yeah, that sucks. I lost my job, but here we go. Now I've got all these great opportunities in front of me. This is okay. I'm going to be okay.
So you just mentioned on something when you said, the checklist, and you touched on it earlier as far as keeping record of stuff. You were on a podcast earlier this morning, and you mentioned, or it was your podcast rather. You did a podcast, the Jolt Your Career podcast. You mentioned intentional journal along those lines.
Yeah.
Share with us more a little bit about that.
So, I tend to be drawn to negative aspects of life. Just being raised from a position of scarcity, I can have a pessimistic view. So I try to be really intentional about gratitude and intention throughout my day. So that way, if I, at the end of the day, just feel exhausted, I can think like, okay, whose life did I touch today? Okay, so, or what was something good that happened? So today, Lala from Sri Lanka reached out to me because I missed class because I was on Lauren's podcast, just to make sure I was okay. Like, that was so sweet. How did I take care of myself today? I showered today. And for those of you who have little ones at home that wake up at 4 a.m., sometimes you don't get to shower in the morning. It waits until the evening. So like little things like that. It's like if everything else sucked during the day, I was told I didn't get 3 jobs that I really was excited about. Found out my mom's not coming home for Thanksgiving, whatever, like some days just suck. It was like, okay, let me find one thing that was good about today. I got to shower in the morning. And it's so dumb, but it's just a way to go to bed at night and put it to bed so you can actually sleep and get good quality sleep. Because it affects your job search. When you're tired, when you're angry, it shows up in your interview. And that's why I like to record sessions when I'm doing mock interviews, so people can see the weird things they do. I get nervous when I'm talking, so I always fidget with a pen. I hate my hair being in my face, so I'm always fidgeting with my hair. I'm always pulling my, like, I do a bunch of weird stuff that sometimes can matter in an interview. So we can be more intentional about that. And the tone, our body posture, when we get, if we're laid off during the holiday, we're going to be sad. And so, or angry, that comes through in tone, body posture, and you don't really realize those things. But if you're keeping a journal or an Excel spreadsheet or whatever to kind of track your progress, it may feel like at the end of the week, I didn't get a job. But you may see you increased your LinkedIn connections by 250, and you had 27 people agree to do informational interviews with you or gave you some type of feedback about whatever question you asked them. That's a win. And so it may not be that job, but you are making progress in your job search.
That's powerful. But that's powerful that you have that awareness and making it intentional. Like, I'm not going to let the whole day crash and burn. Let me get to my journal to really kind of like save the day.
Yeah.
But I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So with some of your clients or people you're speaking with, what are you telling them their probability or strategy around those that are career transitioning? So they're looking to take on a whole new function at this time. What does that look like?
So if they know what they want to do in their transition, we work on transferable skills and leveraging networks. It's people transition careers every single day. It's not rocket science. It's absolutely possible. But to be totally honest, if somebody just absolutely does not know what they want from their career and is going to need intensive coaching on that, I refer clients to Barbara Berger, who is a phenomenal career transitions coach. She also has a spiritual aspect to her practice that a lot of my clients feel comfortable with when making that transition. When people, have sometimes are a little bit more spiritual, they believe, things happen for a reason and things are possible, and so people like that. And then also, Leslie Garr, she's phenomenal with career transitioners. And so depending on the person's needs, sometimes I refer them to people who like that's their secret sauce. Like that's how they figure people out. But if somebody knows, okay, I am, a product engineer and I want to go into customer success role, that is all about learning how to effectively articulate how what you've done in the past you can leverage to give a unique perspective to this position, and it is going to catapult that organization's sales. And so you've got to figure out what it is that you can leverage from your current industry or position and how that can be advantageous for the next position you're going after, so you can sell that aspect of it. And if you are doing these informational interviews, then you're going to know what that department's pain point is, so you can be strategic and highlight, I heard that your this department is struggling with retention and that there's a lot of tension between the cross-functional teams. Well, when I was in this position, this is how I rallied the troops and turned around a toxic environment, which is totally outside of my scope, but that's just the type of personality that I have. And so I really think that once I learned about this issue, it got me even more excited about the role, because I can do so much more than just the job description. I can really make an impact at this organization for this department, which is going to be huge. And when you learn how to sell yourself or articulate your value or your secret sauce or your unique value proposition, whatever you want to call it, once you believe in yourself, other people are going to believe in you, and then it'll happen. You'll land. It might take a little bit longer than making a lateral move, but it will happen.
Love that. Makes complete sense. Makes complete sense. So, what would you say some of the benefits are in taking on a job search during the holidays? What?
So if you're unemployed,
Mhm.
don't stop. Do not stop. Keep going. This is the time when they need these positions filled. They want to start people off at the new year. It's TA departments right now are feeling the heat. If you speak to any recruiter right now, they're swamped.
Yeah,
Exactly.
swamped. Yeah.
Yes. Um, and then if you're currently employed, use that vacation time, focus on yourself. Think about what your goals are for the next year. And it can be twofold. You may need to do an external search, or this may be the perfect time to sit down with leadership and say, hey, I did a SWOT analysis on myself, and I wanted to know if I could review it with you. These
Mhm.
are what I perceive my strengths to be, my weaknesses to be, my opportunities within this organization to be, and some of my threats. One of my threats, for example, is I don't feel like I have, enough experience working on this type of software, right? And I would like to get some more exposure to that. Can we figure something out? Could you look at my SWOT analysis and you add to my strengths? Because sometimes we're our own worst enemies and we
Mhm.
miss some strengths, or sometimes we're a little bit too big in the head and we miss some weaknesses that we may not be aware of until someone is brave enough to have that difficult conversation. And if you're inviting it and open to it, then you're going to get more candid feedback. And then if you're seeking out this one-on-one and structured conversation with your leader, you're more likely to get put on a track to be mentored, to be sponsored, and have these opportunities, since you made it really easy for them to help you follow your goals. Now, if you're looking at external opportunities, it's a great time because you may have some extra time on your hands. You're going to be seeing a lot of people for the holidays. It's really easy to reach out to people and use that as an excuse. And so it makes having these conversations so much easier. So, like, I think the worst time to look for a job is in the summer because kids are out of school and you want to be traveling while well, in my case, the weather's nice. Your
Yeah.
weather's always nice. Um, but yeah, the holidays is like prime time.
Good. Okay. Okay. I like that viewpoint. So, from the opposite of that, what are some of the challenges or pitfalls or pitholes, potholes rather, in doing it during the holiday season? And I don't know. Before you answer that, I don't know if that's in because of the climate we're in now with COVID and the great, resignation slash great shuffle. If that impacts it, but what would you say to that question?
The only downside that I see to it is clients have a little bit of frustration with the interview process, because with people taking time off, using their vacation time within different departments, sometimes scheduling things can take a little bit of time. And so, um, like my husband's an executive recruiter, so somebody on his team is out this week, so he's managing her caseload. And so now it's going to be somebody new, coming into the conversation, reaching out to these candidates, and they're going to be like, who is he? I was just talking to her. And so some recruiters are better than others in saying, hey, I'm going to be out for a couple of days, let me introduce you to so and so, they'll be helping you out until I'm back, keeping you posted.
Hmm.
Or some recruiters are better than others in terms of, hey, this hiring manager's out for the next week, but we're really excited about you and want to get you, interviewed as soon as they're back. Let's get you on there. Are you interviewing anywhere else? We definitely do, want to move to the next phase in the interview. And some people don't want to wait, but this is why it's important to have that target company list. Because if the potential leader is going to be out for a week and you have to extend your interview for a week, if you know you really want to be at the organization, it's not a problem. But if it's just a company you don't really care about, then you're
Hmm.
going to be like, this company sucks even more now.
I like that because it's funny because I rarely mention where I work now or anything on this podcast, but I had the same conversation with my team internally to say, hey, as we're taking vacation, let's get with our managers to let them know, and any final candidates that are in this process, let's push them along or get feedback so we can close it out, and know that during the time we're out, don't expect any new candidates to pop up on your calendar, but let them know so they're not like, hey, what TA, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks. Like, oh, because
Yeah.
we're out, we're out on
Yep.
vacation. So yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Now,
And everybody
go ahead.
celebrates different holidays.
Yeah,
And so what may be a holiday for me may not be for you. And so explaining that to a candidate, hey, I'm going to be out for Hanukkah for the next couple of days, or I'm going to be out for Christmas or Bali, whatever, all these different holidays. I'm taking the winter solstice off,
yeah.
there's so many. I think there's like 7 different religious holidays in addition to other like cultural things throughout the next couple of months. And so what we may think is intuitive to somebody else, like, of course we're out, the office is closed. It's just courtesy for the TA department to have good customer service. So that is frustrating from a candidate's perspective when sometimes TA departments fall short on their communication, but everybody's busy. And so a little bit of empathy goes a long way on both sides of the spectrum during the holiday season.
So, and great point, because that led me into the next question. If you were in a position to educate, which you are, to educate, hiring managers during this time, how would you pose that same benefits? Like, hey, during the holidays, I think it's best that you do X, be mindful of X, and what advice would you give hiring managers?
So the hiring managers at times don't always believe in themselves. And I think it's important for leaders to trust in their judgment and know what's best for their department. And if you know those things to be true, then you know if a candidate is a good candidate or not, and you don't need to think about it. And so if something is off or there's a red flag, think of it like house hunting. Like, well, I really want a fenced in backyard, everything, but this kitchen's amazing, but there's no backyard. There's going to have to be times where you're going to have to compromise on one thing or the next thing because nobody's perfect. And trust your gut in that, okay, this is the right candidate. And if it's not, then say none of these work. Get with the TA team and make your expectations more clear. Make your job descriptions, more effective versus stringing people along, because not only does that ruin the reputation for your organization from a candidate perspective, it also impacts the quality of candidates that you are going to attract to your organization. And at the end of the day, will affect the bottom line. And so leaders are often incentivized by bonuses, and you get those bonuses because your teams are rock stars. And so it's time to trust when you have found a rock star to offer it. And if you have an opening, it's obviously there's a pain point in your department. Somebody's missing. It's probably all hands on deck. You want to fill that position quicker, make it a priority versus a back burner.
I love that. And you said something crucial there, because you said managers sometimes are not confident. So, which can elongate the interview process.
Yeah.
Share with them the effects of hesitation, procrastination, uncertainty, especially in this climate.
You're going to lose the candidate.
Yep.
Period. Is that simple. You're going to ask your recruiter, hey, I want to see a couple more names. By the time you see a couple more names, which were that recruiter's backup options, because your recruiter already sourced the best talent for this position, because you have a great TA team and you should trust them to be your business partner. You are going to end up losing the candidate that you should have selected in the first place, because this market right now organizations who have confidence in themselves and know exactly what they're looking for are making decisions quickly. And so if you're not making a decision quickly, you're going to lose that candidate because another organization is going to scoop them up. Because as soon as somebody turns on that, open opportunities, recruiters only, it sends signals out there. When people start saving job descriptions, it sends signals through LinkedIn Recruiter. Okay, this person's interested, and they're going to be interested in a couple different organizations because you don't always have the best company to work for. So it's you got to get off the pot and just pick somebody.
I love that. Yep, you hit it right. You answered it perfectly. I love that. Thanks, Crystal, on on your comment here as well. So yeah, they're still looking at the employment gaps, and at this point, we just need strong talent. Life happens. We got to get away from that as well. But another question, as we look to wrap up here, um, is when it comes to the interview process, what would you say is a good number? And speaking to the hiring managers, again during this holiday season, and we're both in the mid to senior level space on the recruitment side in helping folks. What's a good number of interview steps a candidate should go through during this time before pulling that trigger?
So I think it's fair to have an initial screening with the recruiter
Hmm.
where the candidate gets to learn more about the position, just not just the job description, right? That was online.
Hmm.
And then from there, speak to the hiring manager. So a minimum of 2. But at the mid to senior level, I think it's really fair to have that next level leader interview as well, because people are going into positions. Mid to senior level leaders are ambitious. They want that growth. And so I think it's fair for them to speak to the next level up to figure out, um, how does my manager lead? I interviewed with
Mm.
the hiring manager last week, or Orlando, and you're the CHRO. So how, what, because it's interviews both ways.
Yep.
You want to ask those questions. What do you see the biggest challenge in this department? And kind of get a perspective from immediate supervisor and then on up. So I think a minimum of 2. I would ideally like a maximum of 3, but I know a lot of organizations then do a panel of peers, which is a great opportunity for candidates to get to know, more peers, but also a really great opportunity to bring in a lot of bias into the hiring process. I didn't like them. I didn't get a good feel for them. That could be because I feel intimidated by that person,
Yep.
or because I have a bias that you may not know about. And that's what I personally don't like about bringing peers involved in it.
Great point. Great point. Love that. You're just hitting everything on the on the head.
How many
There-
interviews do you think is appropriate? Because I know
so
some
for
people are like, it should just be 1.
Yeah, no, right. So I'm along the lines of that 3 to 4 sweet spot, and then obviously schedules, things like that. But I think if we can get it done, if you can commit your hiring managers, which is crucial depending on timing, 3 to 4 within a week,
Yeah.
and let's move on. That's if they're progressing. If they're progressing, right? Recruit to TA team, like you said, hiring manager, next level, and then possibly someone in HR, depending on the level or the senior person of the department head. And then let's debrief and immediately after that, within 24 hours, to give that candidate feedback if they're gonna, if we're gonna extend an offer or not. But yeah, anything beyond that 3 to 4, yeah, I think
It's
in any time,
brutal.
especially not, is brutal because the schedule gets elongated. It's the candidate schedule, it's your schedule. We move it into the following week, and it's like, are they available? They're available for the job they just took because we took too long. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
absolutely. Teegan, I appreciate you so much. I want to be mindful of your time as we get close to the holiday. Share some final words of wisdom for job seekers that you feel is needed during the holiday search in this time.
I actually saw a great post today. I forgot who posted it, but it was do's and don'ts of the holiday job search. And one thing that I think isn't talked about enough is tact going into the holidays. The holidays are about gratitude and about giving, not about taking. And so if it is okay to say, I am on the job search. It is okay to say, hey, after the holidays, let's, reconnect and, see who we might be able to chat with. But it's not okay to say, hey, Teegan, I know we're, eating Thanksgiving, but hey, can you write my resume after this? Or, hey, Orlando, I saw that there was a position open at this company. Can you call the hiring manager and let's chat with them right now? And I find that some people don't realize that some asks are too big. And especially certain asks are way too big during the holidays. Like that's professionals' time to have the break, to be around family. And so when we are asking, and as a job seeker, we should ask, when we are asking for support, do so in a way that is respectful of other people's time and other people's peace. And kind of gauge how large that ask is and when it's appropriate to ask it, which can be a fine line. And I'm sure me and Orlando can help you gauge what would or wouldn't be appropriate. But I get so many DMs a day. Hey, can you find me a job? No, but I'll write your resume for you. It's like that's a huge ask. No, I can't find you a job. I'm not a headhunter. And so it's the same way of being strategic about your ask and enjoying the holidays and making the holidays enjoyable for other people as well that you're going to be spending time with.
Love that perspective. That is amazing. Great feedback. Great advice. Share with the folks who watching live and going to watch the replay where they can find you, your services, etc.
Yeah, so I am on LinkedIn, LinkedIn / Teegan Bartos. I have a YouTube channel that I'm starting to add more and more videos to. Honestly, have no idea what the URL even is. I think it's like Jolt Your Career with Teegan Bartos or something like that. So those are the main two platforms that I leverage.
All right, awesome. Thank you again, Teegan, for your transparency, your unique perspective and advice. Love you dropped a bunch of great nuggets for folks today. I hope they listen and take note. It helped them with their job search, but you did phenomenal with your advice. Absolutely loved it. I appreciate you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to drop you back and just close us out with a quick video. But thanks again. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for watching another episode of Career Talks. My sole mission is to provide actionable advice for job seekers that will impact their career and ultimately their life. But I need your support. So if you can simply subscribe to the podcast so I can take this message further, I would greatly appreciate it. I look forward to your support, and I'll see you next week.